relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers. How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
Happy Thursday, everyone. I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast today. To be employed versus deployed. We're going to talk about these two words, things that people do and what people don't do. And we're going to kind of look at how one of these can really make a difference when it comes to living your dreams and living your purpose. So if you got dreams and you want to connect dreams to purpose, today is the day. So what is this? What is this employment versus deployment? Now, before we get into that, I just want to talk quickly about something that happened to me in the employment game. I'm working my last job. It's an amazing job. I love the job that I was at. I was making really good money. And I passed the CPA exam, right? I passed the exam. It was amazing. I'm talking about, it was like, wow, I passed the exam. I told my boss sends an email out and everybody's like congratulating me. And that was it. It just got a lot of congratulations. I said, wow, seemed like it would have been more. Because before I got the CPA and way before I became an accountant, I had the wrong idea. Number one, I had the wrong idea. I had the wrong idea of where I was going. Wrong. It was totally wrong. How do I know this? Well, I think when I turned 18, check this out. When I turned 18, something happened. See, when you turn 18 in this country, you got to do something. You got to register. What? Register for the selective service. What does that mean? You got to register to potentially be deployed. Potentially, you have to get deployed when you turn 18, all males. Wow. What does that mean? I'm going to be deployed. Oh, I don't want to do that. Man, I just want to live my life. I want to be able to do what I want. So here's the thing. I had two words in my mind. One was employed, one was deployed. And I thought the one was worse than the other. I thought being deployed was worse than employed. See, here's the thing. And that isn't the deployment that we're talking about. It's going to be a little bit different. But here's the thing. How does ideas grow? Where do we get these ideas? I got an idea about deployment that I should not do it. I'm not now. Plenty of people go to the selective service. Plenty of people go to the military. Plenty of people do that. Lots of people have successful lives and careers because they did that. Doesn't mean that just because you did that, you're better or more successful than somebody else. No, we're going to talk about a different type of deployment. See, employment from a young age was said you got to get a job. Employment is one of these ideas that we've been given, like, hey, you just got to work, man. And you got to find somebody who's going to pay you for the work. And I get it. Like we're all going to need to pay for the things that we're going to need. So really, I wake up every day so that I can pay for the stuff that I want. So that means that whatever I need to learn, that's what I want to do. Whatever's going to get me to where I'm going faster, that's where I want to go. But if you were told, if someone sat you down, if my mom and dad would have sat me down and said, son, if they would have told me the difference between deployment and employment, if they would have told me the difference between not just going for what you think you can get, but going for what you really dream of, creating something for your life that's bigger than you. If they could have shared just a little bit of that, man, what could have happened? Well, no spilled milk. Why? Because I was employed for a reason. Write it down. We are employed for a reason. Why? You must learn something. You must listen. God's going to give us an initial employment. Why? Because you don't know nothing yet. And because you don't know nothing yet, then you need to figure out something. And a lot of times you may need to listen to somebody. I needed to listen. I made a lot of mistakes when I was employed. I did some dumb stuff when I was employed. And even today, I probably still do some, whatever kind of stuff. So it doesn't just because I went through one thing doesn't mean that I can't go through another. It's just that when I'm looking back at the employment, God says, well, go get some employment, man, because you don't know nothing. employment is employment is set up so that you can take care of the things that you need. Employment is not set up for you to live your dreams. Employment is probably not set up. Most people, I'm not saying somebody couldn't live their existence, their purpose in an employment, because it is possible. Think about this. Think about somebody like, I think it's Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer's with Microsoft. Wait, he was an employer. He was an employee. He became a multi-billionaire. Why? Because he just so happened to got in early, and that employment, he thought bigger of the employment than merely just having a job. He created things. He worked hard, but here's the thing: he created things. Is the key word. He created things. And when you create things, it doesn't matter if you are employed or deployed. You should think about this. And I'm thinking about, wow, so every person doesn't have to go into business in order to be deployed. Uh-oh. What? You're going to say that? Yeah, because every person you may just want to start a business with somebody else, or you want to be in a business with somebody else that's doing something that resonates with you. But be in there to create. Take yourself, deploy yourself into an employed role. See, I used to think it, when I first came into the deployment, I thought that, the employment is bad. No, it's not. It's not bad. Employment is good, right? Because I want to employ people, right? I would like to be able to hire hundreds of people, thousands of people. Here's the thing. I was just listening to the story of the guy at Panda Express. And he owns the Panda Express. Yeah, he got the orange chicken, all that other stuff. But here's the thing. He's doing that. But one of the things in that business that he's trying to do, he's trying to help the employees to learn things that they wouldn't necessarily learn just being employees. He's like, helping them to, I guess, get training from Tony Robbins, giving them empowering books, helping them to be able to see themselves in a different light. That's someone who started a business, knows he's going to hire people, but then he says, no, I would like for these people to be deployed. Now, if you were to deploy those people, that just means that a job like that, they're not going to stay at it. But he's fine with that because, man, this would be the type of job where people come in and then go out somewhere else. When I was thinking about being deployed, and I just looked it up. I said, well, what is deployment? The movement of troops. We ain't talking about troops, right? Deployed is action of bringing resources into effective action. Now, that one, the action of bringing resources into effective action. So let's think about us. You can be employed and be deployed at the same time. So it's not like a person that's employed can't be deployed. Yes, you can, because it's saying bringing resources into effective action. So I was just on Instagram earlier this morning. It's Thursday. I do a series called Purpose at 8:28. Every Thursday, 4 or 5 minute video, talk about purpose. And if we're thinking about purpose now, purpose goes along with deployment, right? Because now you're taking the resources that you are, and now I'm taking the resources that I am. And today we were talking about increasing value, how purpose increases value. How does purpose increase value? You should watch the video, but I'll kind of share a little bit of that. Purpose increase value because let's think about value first. What is value? Value is subjective, right? I have a pair of glasses right here on my desk. These are the blue screen glasses, and it's subjective as to how much that would cost. You can get them for a couple of dollars. You can get them for a few cents, whatever it is. But if they were the last pair on earth and somebody needed those glasses because they were going to be sitting in front of a computer for hours on end, they might be willing to pay a little bit more. So a lot of physical things that we buy and we sell, there's a subjective value. It's kind of like somebody could sell something one day for $100 and then the next day sell it for $25. Why? Because they felt like it. It's kind of like a person can go buy a suit. I was just talking to my colleague, and she was talking about, someone who who buy suits for say $20,000, wherein you can go buy a suit for a couple $100. So things are valuable up to whoever is creating the value. Say, well, that suit is 25,000. My suit is $500. Nice suits, but it's just different, right? So value is subjective. However, purpose is not. Purpose is not subjective. Purpose is what it is. It's kind of like a car. Can we change the purpose of a car? No, you can't change the purpose of a car. Can I change the purpose of this microphone? No, because the microphone needs to be connected to the computer. It's going to do something. I'm going to talk into it, and then it's going to be some sound. So the purpose of something can't change. Now we can try and change the purpose of it. Oh, I'm going to use it for this. And let's see what happens, right? If you use something outside of its purpose, it's going to get destroyed. Something's going to happen. It's kind of like, when you use I think Dr. Miles calls it abnormal use, right? So when you take something and you don't use it for the purpose for which it was created, that's called abnormal use. And so now you're using something abnormally, which you have to get a result typically that we don't want. And then that's going to destroy the thing that we're using. So when we use something in its purpose, and you connect it to something else that has a value, the purpose will increase that value. It's like you and me. When I discover my purpose, I go from a regular accountant to the healthy accountant. And that means that I have something more value than just being an accountant. I have something now where I can take life. I have studied life in a certain way and can see it from the perspective or lens of an accountant and an accountant in business. And I can then fuse that together, and all of a sudden it's more valuable. So purpose increases value. But here's the thing. We discover these types of things when we come under a deployment. You could be employed. Remember, you could be employed and deployed at the same time. So if that's the case and you're employed, then your job is to discover a purpose. Your job is to discover, man, how could I create something that would help my employment, that would help the business that I'm employed under? Imagine now, if you like worked at a place like fast food restaurant, you're probably not going to create any new food. It's not happening. So certain things you may not be able to create anything, but here's the thing. You could create a level of customer service that no one else is doing. You could just be the guy when people come into that store, the gal, when people come into that store, they're like, man, that Jay Moore, man, he's at the register. Whenever he's at the register, I come in here, it's just amazing. My son, he works at Chick-fil-A, and he cracked me up one day because he was doing an impression of a person who speaks in the tone of someone who lives, in London, England. And so he would throw on this type of voice, and he says he would use it, and the people would just get a kick out of it. And, it just brought some life to the conversation as he's taking orders at Chick-fil-A. I'm just like, and he would start doing it at home. I'm just like, this guy, like, this is so interesting. But I didn't know that he even had that in him to like, I can't really do it, but he can mimic these tones. And I was like, wow, look at that. So our purpose, the things that we have within us, we can elevate things that we're doing just because we now connect that to our employment. But while we're employed, we are using that time to start picturing. This is the last thing, to start picturing where we're going. See, deployment, when you are deployed, you will be given instructions and you will be sent out. Jesus said to the disciples, I will be sending you out. He's saying, I'm sending you out amongst wolves. I'm sending you out as doves. Like you're gonna be subject to something that you're gonna go into a land where people may not like you. but I'm sending you out there because of the purpose that you have. I'm sending you out there because I know that the deployment that you bring, the uniqueness that you'll come with, it's going to change the atmosphere of where you're going. So as we are growing from being employed, then our job is to then say, you know what? Where is my deployment? When I got my deployment some years ago and I was called into this new land, I was just like, well, how do I do it? It's just like the disciples. They were trying to figure out, Lord, well, we don't know how to heal the sick and raise the dead. And we don't know how to, preach the message the way you preach it. He says, no, you got that. When you go, you will see. Here's the thing. If they didn't go, they would never have seen. If I had not gone where he was sending me, I would have never seen the purpose. So God's calling us. You're in business. God's calling you. Yes, he's calling you. He's calling you to a place. And that place is your land. That place is your territory. That place is your authority. Go to that land. Allow that deployment to take place, even if you're employed. Allow the employment to prepare you for where it is you're going, because deployment is needed in the marketplace, just like employment is needed. But why don't we do both? Why don't we connect employment with deployment so that even those that still are working for people who have businesses like me, you are adding something of more value to that business then transcends what it used to be and becomes something totally different. That's what you can do when you are employed and are deployed in that business. So guys, that's the message. To be employed versus deployed, it's not either or, because in the kingdom, everything is and. So it's employed and deployed. God bless you. I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.